What's up, everyone? It's Nick from Team Nitro YGO here, and today I'm bringing you my second place Remote Duel Prank Kid Adamancipator deck profile for everyone today. This is a deck that my buddy sold to me because he's got to pay bills because COVID's just destroying the economy, and I wanted to pick up a combo deck, and this is what I picked up, and I've been having a ton of fun playing with it recently. It's definitely one of the less skill-intensive combo decks, because like a lot of your games basically come down to what do you excavate and what lines can you take from those excavations. But I don't know. The deck is super fun. It has a lot of interesting, like there are still interesting decision points of like when do you do certain things, when do you concede to the Nibiru, do you play around Nibiru, do you play around certain other things. Like you do have decisions to make in your combo deck. But anyway, I'll quickly run through the tournament report for y'all. Round 1 was Cyber Dragon. I got there 2-1. My opponent did not make Infinity Game 3, so I won. Round 2 was Paleozoic. I 2-0'd them just because it's Paleo. Like, that deck is very incapable of applying pressure, so you just have all the time in the world to accumulate resources and then play. Round 3, I lost to the eventual winner of the tournament, Pure Prank Kid. I only lost in Game 3 because they resolved both Lampsies and Dropsies and then stuck a Mystic Mine on me, and I had no removal in my deck for it. Because I didn't board in my Spell and Trap removal against Prank Kid like I was supposed to. Round 4, I beat Live Twin. My opponent summoned a Griffin, and it didn't matter. I just won anyway. And then round 5 was Dragon Link, because my opponent didn't know how to play their deck. So you can call that an undeserved win if you want, but like my opponent had like the correct build of Dragon Link. I think they were missing like the Dragon Maid cards, but like for the most part they had everything, and they like made an end board, and I just broke it and won. Like, I think if they were just better at playing their deck, they would have been able to win. But anyway. As always, the link to all of my deck lists are in the description of the video, so if you just want the deck list, it is down there. You are more than welcome to just take it and leave. But for those who want some analysis on some card choices, stick around. So, for the main deck for the Adamancipator monsters, we're playing 3 of each of them. 3 Researcher, 3 Seeker, and 3 Analyzer. Analyzer is the worst one, because this is the one that's the least capable of being summoned for free, because your opponent has to have a monster and you don't. This card helps the deck going second, but going first when you're trying to play, it doesn't really do a lot. Seeker is the second best one, because you just have to control an Adamancipator monster. It can be a synchro, it can be a main deck monster, it can just hit the board. Researcher is the best one. This is the card that actually lets you This is your best extender at playing through Nibiru, because the Nibiru token is a rock. So if you're just able to hold the Researcher in any of your combo lines, I highly recommend doing so, because it lets you play through Nibiru. But once you get to Appaloosa, or once you find a Guardian, then you can put the Researcher on board. But if you don't have access to those tools, the way that this deck can play through Nibiru is just holding your Researcher until they Nibiru you. You Researcher with the rock token, and now you can link summon Halka-Fibrax and go from there. So that's it for the Adamancipators. I'm not playing any of the crystals. I don't think those cards are good. I think they're just bricks in an already inconsistent deck. I don't want to add more bricks. And then for the Prank Kid engine, I'm playing the 3 Roxies and the 1 Lampsies. Normally I play Dropsies in this deck because it's a level 2, and the Synchro aspect comes up more than the 500 burn. But this card was good. You know, the burn actually did come up in ways that allowed me to push for damage, in ways that I didn't think I would need it. And also, it is just better to hard draw, because it has 1500 attack, so you can actually just normal summon it. Like, attack, and then link, get a Roxy's out of deck. Oh, excuse me, my apologies. So you can link summon with this, and then summon this from the deck, and now you have access to a link too. So, I don't know if this was good. Like, if you wanted to play Dropsies, totally defensible, but I do think this card is actually better. I don't think it's by much, but I think it's better. And then for the Quacky Mirror engine, 3 Supplier and 3 Guardian. Guardian's like the only broken card in the deck. This thing is ridiculous. Being able to negate any monster effect on either player's turn just by tributing itself. And all you have to do is reveal a rock to keep it alive. It's pretty simple. Your deck is mono rock monsters for the most part. My favorite thing to do with Guardian is go to end phase and Guardian and reveal Nibiru to my opponent and be like, all right, now you have to play through a Guardian and you have to play through a Nibiru. Because even if you put the Nibiru face up on the table, your opponent just will not respect it. Because it's like, well, I just have to play and hope I can get there. And then Supplier is actually here mostly just to be a level 4 extender. Like, most of the time I don't even search the Guardian. And then for the rest of the extenders, double Doki Doki. I was playing 3 of this card originally, but it was just a little too inconsistent for my liking. Sorry if you can hear the Discord notifications. I didn't think my server would be popping off as much as it is right now. So, double Doki. This card is insane, obviously. If it does resolve, it's the most powerful card in your deck, but it's also the most susceptible card in your deck, because everyone's going to interact with this thing. So I wanted to play an extender that just didn't get hit with anything. So that's why I'm playing this card. Shout out to Crush Cards on YouTube, because they actually sold me on this idea in one of our deck building sessions. Double Performance Hat Tricker. This card overperformed for me. I know a lot of lists don't play this card, and I understand a lot of lists. I even think Crush Cards isn't even playing this card anymore, but it overperformed for me in this tournament. It was super good. Like, it allowed the deck to play going second. It's a summon that doesn't start a chain, so your opponent can't like interact with it with hand traps or anything. They can only respond with something like Torrential Tribute or Dogmatica Punishment. It's a level 4 free extender that allows you to continue playing. It is very good. This is another way the deck can play through Nibiru as well, because you have a monster and they have a monster, so you can summon the Hat Tricker. And so now you can make like IP Masquerena, or you can make, I don't know if you can actually make Lambda, because it might say not tokens. Yeah, you can't make Lambda, but you can make like IP Masquerena, you can go into other plays. So yeah, this card was very good. Honestly, I might even consider just cutting the Dokis and playing 3 of this card. I actually might consider it, because this card was ridiculous. And then for the rest of the extenders, Triple Parallel Exceed. This card is also insane. Like, you basically always have the ability to make this. It can flex into Granite to search you an extender. It can flex into Dweller. It can also just flex into IP Masquerena. Like, this card is very, very, very good. Not only in the fact that it's an extender for your combos, it's a very... It doesn't restrict you into any material. You can do whatever you want with the Parallel Exceeds, which is why I love this card in this deck. And then that does it for like the combo part of the deck. Now on to the hand traps. Triple Ash Blossom. It's just super flexible. It interacts with a lot of cards in the format, so I wanted to play it. And then I think the most powerful hand trap in my deck was the Gamma package. It underperformed in the tournament itself, but with the way the deck is built, this package is insane. Not only do you have Lambda to be able to convert it on your first turn, it's 2 free bodies that you can do whatever you want with. So if you are able to get this on the board, say on your first turn, then you're able to link these off into a Hulk and summon another tuner. You can Synchro Summon into Borreload, Savage, or Dragite for negation. You can flex these as just bodies to attack with. Like, I think it's very good. Very, very, very good with the way the deck's constructed right now. Those are the only cards you could probably cut to get the deck to 40, but I don't think I'd cut them. I think they're too good. I'd either cut Doki, or again, you could cut the Hat Trickers, but the Hat Tricker was really nice. And then Triple Nibiru, because it's a rock monster. Well, 1, because it's a rock monster, and 2, it's just a really powerful hand trap. I don't think this card is super good in the current format, but I think that it has enough synergy with the deck, and there are enough decks that just lose to it that it's worth playing in my deck. You can also do some really neat things with this card, like you can search it off Gallic Granite if you already have your full combo, and you can summon it off of your Adamancipator Signs because it's a rock. Like, yeah, this thing just has a ton of synergy within the deck. That does it for the monsters. On to the 5 spell cards I play, and they're all extenders. Triple Signs. This card is actually broken. Not only is it a monster reborn, it lets you stack your deck if you summon an Adamancipator. And it doesn't even have to be a main deck Adamancipator. It can be one of the extra deck ones. This card is nuts. The E-Telly to summon Gamma from the deck, and Reborn as an extender. So, I mean, literally these are all just extenders. So that does it for the main deck. It's 41 cards. Like I said, if you wanted to get it to 40, you could cut the Hat Trickers and play 3 Doki. Or, like I said, part of me wants to try 0 Doki, 3 Hat Tricker, but Doki lets you flex extra cards and lets you flex into Guardians and Tuners. So, I don't know. But that does it for the main deck. It's 41 cards. On to the extra deck. The extra deck is pretty standard for the most part. I don't think there's too much to argue about here. The 1 Almirage, this comes up a ton. Not only do you have Doki, you can have hand traps that you can normal summon to make this to get a Parallel Exceed out of your hand. I'm doing that in Salad right now, actually. Playing hand traps to normal summon to make this to summon Parallel Exceed so that you can actually play the game. For the Prank Kid links, I'm playing the 1 Mew and the 1 Doodle Doo. These are just extenders, ways to climb. Get you up into Appaloosa and access code. I mean, you can technically use the graveyard effect of this card, but you shouldn't. Or the second effect of this card, but you shouldn't. For the rest of the links, IP is part of the end boards. You can also just make it for like Indestructible Appaloosa, Indestructible Access Code, etc. My apologies. 1 Helga Fibrax, just massive extender. This is also a hate magnet. People are always going to try to negate this card. If they're less experienced against combo decks, they'll just negate this card, which lets you play. So, I got to flex that a lot of the locals. Another thing I got to flex was people who were less experienced with how my deck works, so they were siding incorrectly, but I'll talk about that when I get to the side deck. Lambda for your end board, Unicorn as an IP target, and then for like the main win conditions, you got Appaloosa as part of your massive end board and access code. This card is just insane. If you don't have an access code, then I feel bad for you because this card is broken. It's really, really dumb. I don't even know what else I'd play instead of access code, honestly, to win the game. I really don't. And then for the Exceed monsters, 1 Abyss Dweller to end on some of your end boards, and the Granite to search rocks. These are just pretty standard. This can be any rank 4 you wanted. You could play Baguska, you could play Tornado Dragon, but I think Dweller is the best right now. Not only is Eldritch a deck, the combo decks have to flex their graveyard for extenders and resources, and Dweller just gets to shut that down. For the Synchros, Herald, this was the reason to play Dropsies, because you could flex Dropsies plus any level 2 tuner into Herald of the Arclight. But that just doesn't come up. Most of the time, you just make this thing when you need Nibiru protection. So, oh, my apologies, everyone. It has been a very long day for me. So what you do with Herald is you usually make it for Nibiru protection, and then when you have the Nibiru protection in the form of Appaloosa or Guardian, you can then overlay the Herald into Dweller or Granite to get your plays going. Most of the time, it's Dweller, though. And then now you have another piece of disruption on your end board. Say, this card's good. I'd play it even without Dropsies. Raptite, extension, and a DD Crow effect that actually came up a bunch in the tournament. The Borreload Savage for big end negation, and the Dragite to help push for game going second. It also bounces a bunch of cards. Also, fun fact, this card doesn't target. I didn't know that until I summoned it. Like, my opponent asked me what it did, and I read it, and it was like, oh, this is non-targeting bounce. And they're like, oh, I have to negate that. And I was like, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do, buddy. So that does it for the main deck. Over to the side deck. I don't know what's getting into me, boys. I'm really sorry. It's just been a long day. Side deck is Triple Lancia. This card's super good against Dinosaur and Rogue decks. That was the only deck I was really scared of, because that deck can just put Ultimate Conductor Tyranno after you negate, put all your shit face down, and then kill you. So I didn't want that to happen. Triple Godarla because of the stupid barrier statue. I don't actually think Bird Up is that good. I think it's a pretty weak combo deck. But people are playing it, so you need to respect it. That's why I'm playing the Godarla. Triple Droplet. This card is just broken. It's a Dragoon out. It's a way to play going second. Even going first, it can come in as extra disruption. Just because, like, if they Dark Ruler you, or they Droplet you, you can chain Droplet to their thing. Send all your monsters, and get all their stuff, and you're good to go. And then for the backrow decks, I played 3 Twin. I don't own Lightning Storm, otherwise I'd play Lightning Storm. But Twin was fine. Feather Duster, Red Reboot as actual, like, super busted blowout cards. And then the most powerful card in my side deck, by far, was Imperial Order. For 2 reasons. One, it is just a floodgate that wins the game. But secondly, this card can be chained to Dark Ruler No More and Forbidden Droplet to keep your end board live. So what I like to do is try to set up my end boards with Appaloosa and Borreload Savage, but I'll also sometimes just end on Herald as another piece of actual negation. And then if they Droplet me or Dark Ruler me, if I get to flip the order, the game is just over in that spot, because now I can just change my negation from having to interact with their way to break my board to now it can just be negation for their proactive game plan. And not only that, I'm only playing 5 spells in my deck, and often I side out a spell to board in the order, so I'm only playing 4 spells in my deck. I don't care about this Imperial Order whatsoever. So I'm able to board this in to be proactive game 1 and protect from hate cards. This card is by far the most powerful card in my side deck. It's non-negotiable. You have to play Order in this deck. I had many games in the tournament where my opponent would Dark Ruler me, and I would just flip the order in response, and they would just concede. Because no one's going to board in Cosmic Cyclone or Twin Twister against the combo deck. That's just not feasible. So when you chain Order to their hate card, they lose the game. So it was super, super good. I'm very happy with this list. The only thing I would maybe change is if you didn't have the Forbidden Droplets, you could play Dark Ruler No Mores. Or if you really wanted to be spicy, you could play Super Polymerization, but I just don't think you have the room. But the rest of the side deck is pretty stock. So anyway, that's going to do it for my second place local Prank Kid Adamancipator deck profile. It is just a local, there's nothing to write home about, but I'm very happy that I was able to do well with a deck that I'm less than familiar with. So I'm very happy with my result. I'm very happy with how the deck performed. And I'll be tweaking it as the format goes along, and I'll probably play it in my Rogue tournaments every once in a while. So you will definitely be seeing more of this deck in the future. So anyway, that's going to do it for this deck profile. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, go ahead and just leave them down below. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter, and go ahead and friend me on Facebook. And that's going to do it. My name is Nick from Team Nitro YGO, and thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all later.